Whoa! Harry Potter. Such an honour it is.
Who are you?
Dobby, sir. Dobby the house elf.
Not to be rude or anything, but this isn't a great time for me to have a house elf in my bedroom.
Hello and welcome to Harry Potter, the official film podcast, as we continue our journey through the films that taught us all to believe in magic, as well as how to pronounce Leviosa. I'm Rhianna Dhillon, I'm a lifelong Harry Potter superfan, and I've dressed up as both Ron and Dumbledore, despite being an absolute Hermione at heart, and no, you can't have the photographs. As we look back at each film, I'll be joined by guests who famously love the series almost as much as me. And together, we'll revisit each film and dive deeper, discussing our hottest takes, dissecting the details, and exploring all the behind-the-scenes magic. And you can watch every Harry Potter film along with us on HBO Max. Today, we're talking about the first half of the second film in the series, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Here with me to share her love of all things Harry Potter, it's producer and gaming personality, Naomi Kyle. Hi, Naomi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast.
I'm so excited to be here. You have no idea.
I feel like you're just kind of like bubbling over with the need to talk about Harry Potter.
Oh my gosh, yes.
What kind of Harry Potter fan are you?
The books, the movies, the games,
Everything.
the candy, the lore, going to Universal to check it out, like to, just be in that environment. Everything about it is so special to me because it's something that was such a big event with my family growing up and introduced me to like the magic of movie making. And I don't think I'll ever be the same person because of Harry Potter. So I'm just like so excited to be here.
I do feel like there's like a life before Harry and a life after Harry.
Yes, 100%.
Really
it changed me.
distinct.
It changed me forever.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm assuming then that you have been sorted.
I have been sorted many times I've done it myself. I've got my friends to sort me. So I've always come up with the same one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I have changed so many times. Started off as Gryffindor, and then I was Hufflepuff, and now I'm safely in the Slytherin camp.
You've evolved.
I have. I mean,
Okay.
life's been tough. No, I'm just
Right.
Okay, so tell me yours.
I'm Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuff through and through.
Through and through. Fiercely loyal. I'm somebody who's very hardworking. That's like definitely something that throughout my childhood and into my adult life has been a big part of my just who I am. I love to work, maybe to a fault. I'm loyal to a fault, but I would say, yeah, it's totally has embodied who I am, and I think some parts of me are like maybe Slytherin a little bit, but I'd say the dominant me is Hufflepuff and remains that way and might be just until I grow old and die.
Let's not think about that just yet.
Right.
Tell me about your Patronus.
My Patronus is Bloodhound.
Oh.
Yeah, Bloodhound. So
interesting. I've never heard that one before.
That's interesting. I need to know what yours is now.
Mine is a calico cat.
Oh, cute.
But I feel like Bloodhound
Dog
is
and
like
cat.
is so specific.
Yes.
It's like so much about like being on the hunt for something.
Yes.
I mean, it's kind of what Harry is.
Yeah,
Like,
always chasing
you're a
something,
quester.
going through like discovering new things, you
Yeah.
know, following the mystery. That's definitely me. I'm somebody who like once I latch onto a project, you won't hear from me for like days on end.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's it fits me perfectly. It's also a Patronus that apparently I didn't know this. It teaches you to not judge a book by its cover, which as somebody who's Hufflepuff, I trust people like right out the gate, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I really dive in, and so I think it all melds together and makes sense for me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And what about your wand?
My wand is a firwood wand.
Okay.
It's known as the Survivor's Wand, which I think is pretty fitting. You know, I've been
Great.
through some things in my life too.
Okay.
Just, you know, I'm sure everyone has. And it's a wand that's apparently very strong and for strong-minded people, and also has a bit of somebody who has an intimidating demeanor, perhaps.
Oh, when are you going to turn that on?
Maybe later. Let's get comfortable. Let's dive into this, and we'll see.
If any of you out there haven't done this whole experience, getting sorted, finding out what your Patronus is, knowing what your wand is, then head to harrypotter.com to find out all of that. that. We are talking today about the Chamber of Secrets.
Yes.
You said earlier that it's like a family experience for you to go to the cinema, maybe with everybody. Can you remember seeing Chamber of Secrets for the first time?
I can, because pretty much every movie was a family affair. We lived in a very small town in Canada, and we would have to drive into a bigger city to go to the big theater, because this was like a big deal. My grandmother's a huge fan of the books. She was a fan of the books before we were.
That.
And so we ended up going to this, it was a very particular, I don't know, it's called, it's like a Cineplex, and it was shaped like a flying saucer. So it was a big deal. Like, it was like this brand new build, and everyone would want to go see movies there because they had the latest tech. So yeah, I totally remember going there, and my whole family would go, including my grandmother.
That is
my parents, my siblings.
Adorable.
I know.
I love that. Okay, we are going to get into the Chamber of Secrets. So at the very beginning of it, we find Harry back at Privet Drive, where he's spending another summer alone in his bedroom, counting the seconds until school starts, and realising that magical fame means absolutely nothing to the Dursleys. Downstairs, they are hosting a very important dinner party, and Harry is told to stay silent and out of sight. And of course, that doesn't last long.
No.
Dobby understands. It's just that Dobby has come to tell you it is difficult, sir. Dobby wonders where to begin.
Why don't you sit down?
Sit down. Sit down.
Dobby, shush, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you or anything.
Offend Dobby? Dobby has heard of your greatness, sir, but never has he been asked to sit down by a wizard like an equal.
You can't have met many decent wizards, then.
No, I haven't. That was an awful thing to say. Bad Dobby!
Stop,
Bad
Dobby.
Dobby! Bad
Dobby,
Dobby!
shush. Dobby, please, stop.
Welcome, Dobby, you lovely little agent of chaos. I mean, it's all go from the minute he comes on the screen. He was basically destined to be a fan favourite. Are you a fan of Dobby, or do you find him a little bit annoying?
I love him.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if you find him annoying, but
I find him a little bit annoying.
Really? Okay.
We'll get into me later.
All right. Well, for me, you can't help but feel sorry for him.
Yeah.
He like really, you feel bad for his circumstances. And yeah, I found him, first of all, in that scene, when I was younger, I remember laughing my head off.
Yeah.
He made me laugh so much. He's very dramatic, you know? But yeah, loved him still to this day. I think he's one of the best CGI characters in any property, really.
Yeah, and actually, I do think the CGI
Memorable.
is so impressive. I guess because he was sculpted first, they managed to like keep that emotional kind of thread.
Yes.
Even though he's a CG character. I think because he is so chaotic.
Yeah.
And that kind of irritates me a bit. But he's got such a great heart, Dobby. He's just always putting it in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Like, he's very well-meaning.
He is. His intentions are good. Like, I think that's the main thing. And I really find that I get not liking him because he annoys Harry a lot and makes his life very hard, and sometimes is almost on the verge of killing him.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But then Dobby goes on such a journey himself. Like, the arc of Dobby is a very powerful one.
Yes.
So I think it's just this introduction to him, which is so overwhelming. But it also opens up our world to the world of house elves and their plight. And it's such a great entry point into that, because I think that adds a huge layer to the world of Harry Potter. This film is madness just right off the bat.
Let's do this.
Harry Potter must say he's not going back to school.
I can't. Hogwarts is my home.
Then Dobby must do it, sir. For Harry Potter's own good.
It was spread as far as the eye could see all over the floor of this vast building. It was this deep. And one plumber said, "Look at all that water." And the second plumber said, "Yes, and that's just the top of it."
I really love that bit in the film because that doesn't happen in the book. Like, it doesn't end up all over that woman. It actually ends up like over Harry.
Right.
Because Dobby just drops it and it kind of explodes.
Yeah.
And I just love the fact that they don't really react straight away to
That's
it
true.
either.
That's
It's just
true.
Such, like,
They're just
brilliant
kind of in shock.
comedy timing.
Right.
Okay, so after Dobby crashes the Dursleys' dinner party with horrific consequences, Vernon secures Harry's room with metal bars as a punishment, which I feel is extreme even for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's putting him in prison, basically.
Yes.
Like feeding the food through the door. I think that's from the books, and just madness. But he takes it to the extreme. I think he's losing control, and I think it's like his death throes, and I think he really cares about making his wife very happy, like, because she does not like magic, and she hates her sister. So I think he's just lost a little bit of control and and perspective. That's a really good point. Yeah.
Vernon's bards are, of course, though, no match for Ron, Fred and George, who've nicked their parents' flying Ford Anglia to free Harry, and they whisk him and that bloody pigeon off to the Burrow. Harry's dazzled by his first experience in a wizard family home where magic takes care of the housework and charms seem to be packed into every single corner. And Harry also finds himself completely flummoxed by Arthur's curious questions about muggles. What exactly is the function of a rubber duck?
I've asked myself this question recently. It's funny because I went to a collectibles rubber duck store in Montreal. There's one that's called, I think, the Rubber Duck Shop, something like that. And you go inside, and I thought rubber ducks squeaked.
Right.
They don't squeak. They don't squeak. But I think they're just, a playful kid's toy when they're bathing. Like,
and also
that's
sometimes adults.
Right. Okay.
What was your first impression of the Burrow?
Loved it. It was one of the things I was most excited to see captured on film. So to see it realized and to see what it looked like. And it reminds me a lot of my home, because my home was very chaotic, full of little Chotskys and things going on and yelling and like a lot of just chaos, constant chaos. I felt like it was very relatable. It felt very cozy. And it's Harry's first time in a wizard's house.
Yeah, like
it's very special
dwelling that isn't a castle.
Yeah, and the little touches with like the magic, the pan being cleaned with magic, and the clock too. And I don't know if you noticed, it says prison at one point, which I think is a really funny joke.
That is good.
Like, maybe one of the Weasleys is in prison. Who knows?
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's Fred and George.
It's probably.
Also, did anyone find Ginny's jumper last seen on the cat?
No. Seems like no. She might never see that jumper again.
The Weasleys introduce Harry to the wonder of travelling by flue powder, but his garbled delivery of diagonally unintentionally sends him straight to Nocturne Alley, aka the baddie shopping district. Luckily, Hagrid spots him just in time and returns Harry to Diagon Alley, enunciation Harry, and the Weasleys just in time to stumble upon Wizarding World heartthrob and 5-time winner of Witch Weekly's Most Charming Smile Award, Gilderoy Lockhart. And this man has a severe case of main character energy.
Totally. That's the perfect way to describe him. Totally.
Let's talk about Kenneth Branagh's portrayal of Gilderoy Lockhart.
Yeah.
Extraordinary.
Amazing.
He's so... like the fact that he has this fixed smile which does not leave his face
the whole time.
It's just like frozen on.
Yeah.
And he's so flamboyant and theatrical.
Yeah.
Which obviously Kenneth Branagh is. He comes from theatre. He's a Shakespearean actor, and he brings all of that flair and all of that comedy to Gilderoy. It's honestly, I think, one of the most perfect performances.
Oh yeah, amazing. And like definitely one of the standout performances for this part of the film. I think he made me laugh a lot of the time with the way that he's able to play between, I'm playing a part, but there's obviously an undertone of like he's a fraud and he's lying this whole time. And that's a hard thing to do, I feel like. He did that perfectly. Also, his outfits were so nice. I think him and Lucius Malfoy should have like a runway off, like trying to see who can get the best looks, together, because they both have a keen sense of fashion.
Of style, you're so right.
Yeah.
So Lockhart forces Harry into a publicity stunt and announces that he's the new DADA teacher, while Lucius Malfoy and his glorious mane humiliates the Weasleys, and he quietly slips an extra book into Ginny's cauldron. Blink and you'll miss it. I think we should just special mention for the hair.
Yeah, the hair, the wig.
Because I think Jason Isaacs requested that.
Yeah, so I saw that he requested that. He basically became Lucius Malfoy as we know him now, because he wasn't that way in the books.
No.
And I feel like he was like, no, we're going to make him a fashion icon, long blonde hair, perfectly tailored, everything. Yeah, I just want to know who styles him, or like who's the designer that makes all his clothes, because he looks impeccable in every scene.
Yeah, I agree. At King's Cross, Harry and Ron can't get onto platform 9 3/4, so they steal the family car again. They fly to Hogwarts, are spotted by no less than 8 muggles, and crash into a tree with unresolved anger issues, the Whomping Willow. The boys get detention and a very angry howler from Mrs. Weasley to start the new year. Classes begin, and as expected, Professor Lockhart's first lesson is a complete fiasco, and poor Neville bears the brunt. Platinum blonde Nepo baby, Draco, you're like, oh, that's where he got the sneer from.
Yeah.
He's made Slytherin seeker, and he's slinging some very nasty insults at Hermione. Genuinely, when I hear the word mudblood, it like makes me freeze.
Really?
Yeah.
Aw.
Because I'm like, that's so, oh, it's not, yeah, okay.
It's not real. Not in our world, at least.
Ron attempts a curse, and his broken second-hand wand backfires, resulting in an evening of slug vomit. Hagrid explains what mudblood means, teaching the trio that the wizarding world is actually not as kind as it sometimes appears to be. So you know the fake slugs that Rupert Grint has to throw up? I was always like, what is that? Because it does look really real. He obviously is spitting stuff out, and sometimes all of that can be really gross, like what actors have to put in their mouths. It's like marmalade. They covered them in marmalade.
What? I love marmalade.
It's like Paddington Bear.
That's yeah. I think that works. That seems like a reasonable thing to want to have, and make it more pleasant than having real slugs. Or some sort of synthetic goo or something. Yeah.
Do you know what always is a bit surprising in this scene for me is Hermione knowing what the word mudblood means? Because where would she have come across that?
I was wondering about that because there's two theories that I have. I mean, she obviously reads a lot of books, so maybe she learned it from that. Yeah. But we do see her parents in Diagon Alley, so maybe she's heard it thrown at her parents at some point while they're there. I don't know. It's just a theory that I have.
Oh, that's so true, especially if Daddy Malfoy's around.
Right?
That's a really good point. This obviously kind of sets up something which we haven't really talked much about, the idea of muggles, muggleborns, and purebloods, half-bloods, which obviously goes on to be so important.
It's integral. Yeah, integral to the story. That's the thing with Harry Potter, is just the lore is so good. It's so well crafted.
Yeah, because it is just like a fraction away from our world.
Yeah.
While helping Lockhart answer his fan mail, Harry hears a mysterious disembodied voice that no one else can hear, which leads the trio straight to Mrs. Norris, Filch's cat, who's been petrified beside a message written in blood. The Chamber of Secrets has been opened. Enemies of the air, beware. And this was such a shocking scene. Like, it is like a very visceral and violent. Can you remember seeing this when you were a kid? And like the impact that it had on you?
Yeah, I don't like any animals getting hurt and I think it's a testament to how well the props were designed in this movie, and I really did have a shock because you're assuming that it's all the blood has been drained from the cat and used to make the message on the wall, so I think pretty shocking. But at that point I think I was like 13 years old when the movie came out, so I had already seen like Sleepy Hollow, like Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow, so like, and that's very gory, so I feel like I was getting more accustomed to that. But yeah, it was pretty shocking when I first saw that part.
Panic spreads. McGonagall drops some very casual lore about the founders of Hogwarts, including Salazar Slytherin, who was really against Muggle-born wizards and witches. Malfoy-esque, basically. Right. So true to form, the trio decides that the mystery of the chamber is something only they can solve. Why?
Always is like that.
Time to get polyjuicing. But then my favourite bit, a quick break for sport, is Gryffindor versus Slytherin. The Quidditch match immediately turns violent when a rogue bludger attacks Harry. Malfoy pulls some great facial expressions and misses the snitch hanging out by his ear. Harry catches the snitch, but loses his bones. Lockhart strikes again. I do think that the practical effects of Harry's rubbery arm is so amazing in this. Because it works. Like, it still makes me feel sick. And the noises they make.
I know.
The squelching.
Ugh, I didn't like it. And also, I would say it was like a moment of pure body horror. And it was one of my first experiences of seeing that on screen.
Oh, what, you hadn't like seen The Fly at the age of 30?
Right, true. No, I had not, definitely.
I think Daniel Radcliffe kept the arm after filming.
No way.
Yeah,
where
it's
does
like
he
a
keep
little memento. Maybe he just like whips it out at dinner parties or something, or like
someone's
terrifies
in conversation
people. Does like
and
those
just
fake like knife cutting off your hand jokes. So while Harry's in the hospital wing, Dobby pops in and reveals that he was the one that bewitched the bludger in an attempt to get Harry to leave Hogwarts and protect him from further danger. Dobby, just like pure intentions, but just such misguided execution.
Every time.
Poor old Colin Creevey is the second petrified victim, leading to Lockhart and his assistant, Professor Snape, lol, putting on an ill-advised dueling demonstration where Harry and Draco square off, resulting in a bit of a spectacle when Harry starts talking to a snake conjured from Draco's spell. Turns out Harry can speak Parseltongue, just like Salazar Slytherin himself. Not a great look. However, we don't know it yet, but Snape has just taught Harry the spell that will go on to save his life time and time again. Expelliarmus. Snape apologists, this is a point in your corner. I will give you this one. So Harry, now deeply in his feelings, hears the voice again, and it leads him down a corridor to a horrifying sight. Fellow student Justin Finch-Fletchley, petrified on the floor beside a parade of spiders. Caught immediately by Filch and McGonagall, Harry is headed for yet another detention. So that is the first half of the Chamber of Secrets. Do you have like a favourite moment or a favourite scene from this?
My favorite, absolutely, is everything in Flourish and Blots. The coming together of, Malfoy's family,
Yes.
Weasley's family,
The clash.
Hermione's family.
Yeah.
They're all there. So I think that was like the meaning of Harry and Lockhart. Hermione has such a good comeback when it comes, like she just blows Lucius Malfoy out of the water with what she says to him. And the same thing with Arthur Weasley. They just have these great like little quips, and I think that seeing Lucius Malfoy for the first time too, like Jason Isaacs just kills it in that scene. Yeah. So everything in that whole, and it's such a great environment too, so cozy.
Oh, you're such a nerd. You're like, I like the book bit.
The books, please, more books.
I really love, again, Rupert Grint's facial expressions all the way through, like just being terrified in the car.
Yeah.
Like from the moment that they get in to like nearly crashing into the Hogwarts Express. Also, Harry literally nearly dies.
Oh my gosh.
Like he nearly,
It's right there.
He's hanging out of the car.
Yeah.
He nearly gets crushed. And I feel like he has so many near-death experiences that that one doesn't even register.
No, he's like, what's another one?
They're just like, phew. And then the whole way through, Ron is just like,
scared.
and he just has such a great scared face.
I love
it's
his
brilliant.
expressions.
He's so over the top with it.
Yeah.
And it just brings me so much joy every time he does that face. And we see it a lot in the Chamber of Secrets.
We do.
Do you have like a favourite scene stealer in this first half of Chamber of Secrets?
Yes, actually Nocturne Alley.
Oh.
Because first when Harry walks out of the shop,
Yeah.
there's that witch who like throws a little smirk at him or like smiles at him. And then there's another guy next to him who was really selling it. Like he's like giving him this evil, intense stare. They stood out to me.
Yeah. I really like the fact that we get the same like the guy that's on the platform that Harry meets in both Philosopher's Stone and the Chamber of Secrets.
That's a good one.
And like both times he's just like asking.
He's like, what's going on?
Yeah. He's like, not this guy again. Also, shout out to Marcus Flint's teeth. They are a character in their own right.
In their own right,
I think
absolutely.
So in the Chamber of Secrets, we learn a lot more about the history of the Hogwarts founders and their houses. So I feel like we're required to discuss how their individual identities come into play throughout the series. Do you think, because I feel like this is actually quite a normal thing to do even in the Muggle world, but do you think that they're right to sort the children into houses from the age of 11?
I really think that they sort them way too young.
Right.
Too early, I would say. You know, give them maybe until the holidays or something to decide, or give them time to, because when you think about if they're Muggle born and if they have never experienced this world, that's kind of a culture shock, you know, and they have to go and they have to socialize with people who they've never really met before. And
so what, just like have them all like mushed in together?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then kind of find their way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that they have a bit more of a decision making, because I suppose Harry's only saying he doesn't want to be in Slytherin because he's literally just heard what Ron has talked about.
I would say, would you, somebody who was Muggle born, let's say, walk into Hogwarts, would you want to have more time, or would you rather be sorted right away? Like,
I feel like it takes the ball out of your court. It's like one less decision that you have to make at that age, because especially whether you're Muggle born or not, you're still going to be quite overwhelmed going into this castle, and like you're going to have to be learning new things immediately. And I feel like this is just being like, here are your people.
yeah.
And I understand that maybe sometimes you might not find your people.
Right.
It might not work, but that is also just growing up. That's just like existing. You might be somebody who's a bit more peripheral. I mean, look at Luna Lovegood.
That's true.
She didn't necessarily find her people in Ravenclaw.
Yeah.
She found them in Gryffindor.
Yeah.
Because she also had those kind of strong qualities.
I related to her a lot in that
Did
way.
you?
Yeah, because I always was kind of jumping camp, like trying to find the people that I fit in the most or felt most accepted in. And I will say, just to debate you a little bit on that idea, like if there's a way to be a part of a group and halfway through decide to change a house, you know? Because how much of it is nature versus nurture?
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Right? Like, at what point do you realize I'm just not Slytherin or I'm just not Hufflepuff?
Yes.
And can you then decide I've actually realized I'm this way? Or how much of being part of Hufflepuff has influenced me, right?
Yeah. And also we talked about how you change over the years. So when you are not the same person you are at 11 that you are at then 17.
Well, in my case.
Well, you were. Hufflepuff through and through.
Right.
But yeah, like people change, people evolve. And again, it's like who your friends are.
Yeah.
And I mean, Harry would have been, do you think he would have been a different person if he had accepted Draco Malfoy's handshake?
I don't think so.
I do think that Harry is quite cunning though, and I do think he does sort of have ambitions,
That's true.
and they're not negative qualities. I think.
They're not.
So
I'm ambitious. You're
Yeah.
ambitious.
Yeah.
I think that's the part of the houses too that some people think, oh, it's going to be like you're one and you're not at all the others. But I think we all have a bit of the other houses in us.
Absolutely.
Like maybe his stat is, he's 45% Gryffindor, but has like a
20
30,
bits,
yeah,
yeah.
like a little bit
Yeah.
of Slytherin there,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
maybe a bit of Hufflepuff. He's really smart, maybe Ravenclaw.
he is, yeah.
So
Not
I think
always really smart, but often really smart.
often his hunches are right. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that he pulls from all the different
Yeah.
houses. I think that's a big lesson in this as well. Is you're never just one thing.
No, we do get a bit more Draco in this, in Chamber
Yes,
of
that's
Secrets.
right.
And what I find really interesting is that obviously we kind of trained almost to hate Draco on sight.
Yeah.
And yet, because in Chamber of Secrets, we see his beginnings, we see why he is the way he is. Lucius Malfoy is such a bully from the off.
Oh, yeah.
And the bit that always gets me is in that Quidditch match, Draco takes a really vicious looking tumble. Like it is, again, as I've said multiple times, really violent.
Yeah.
And I know he goes really overboard and he's like crying in the hospital wing, but also it's because he's so attention starved. Look at the way that Lucius Malfoy reacts when Draco falls off the broom. He literally just like rolls his eyes.
Yeah.
And he's like not in the least bit concerned about him. So of course Draco is going overboard trying to get his parents' attention. I think
Yeah.
that's what it is. So I do have a lot of sympathy for Draco. It's difficult to like put his case forward. I
Right.
don't think he's a good person, but because you can see why he is the way he is in the Chamber of Secrets, I feel like that gives us so much more empathy, especially further down the line.
Yeah.
When we see him forced to do things that he doesn't want to do.
It creates a good villain. Like
Yes.
it makes him have more depth. And,
Yeah, absolutely.
And we do end up sympathizing with him a little bit. And because Lucius Malfoy is vicious, and I think Draco wants so badly to be like his father, and
Yeah.
I don't think it's his natural way of being. Like I think he discovers that. That's his arc.
Yeah. Oh, good. I'm really glad you agree with me on that.
I do.
It is time for one of my favourite segments of the podcast. It's Owl Post. So we have an owl that's arrived from a fellow Potter fan, and I feel like this is going to spark some debate between
Okay.
us. This is from Caroline D from Edinburgh about the most underrated character. She says the most underrated character in this film is 1000% Professor Sprout. She's just the lady who loves herbology and talks to plants. I feel like herbology saves the day many times in this film and the whole series, but she never really gets the proper credit. After all, it's Sprout who treats the petrified students and teaches her class how to use mandrakes. I guess she does get a small shout out at the end from Dumbledore, but I feel like she needs more airtime, more than just a quick thanks at the closing assembly. I really love the passion behind this. What do you think of Professor Sprout?
I think she's great, and I think that she's one of those teachers that is just a little kooky. Her best friends are plants.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
can see, like, in my mind, somebody perhaps thinking that she's just really important and integral to the characters, and they need to have a lot of what she does in her class, and they need those skills. So yeah, I think there's no issue with her in my mind.
Yeah, I think she's brilliant. I really love Professor Sprout. I do think it's absolutely wild that at the beginning of her class on mandrakes, she's like, these are fatal if you hear them cry. And I'm like, these kids are 12.
Right.
Like, you have Neville in this class who's so accident prone and he immediately faints, which is so funny considering that he then goes on to be a herbology genius.
That's right.
But-
Maybe that's what spearheads that career path.
Maybe. But also the whole idea of the mandrakes is, I'm so glad we get to talk about them.
They're
so I
funny.
think the design of them is just iconic.
Yeah, iconic. They look scraggly. They look really. They look like weird looking gnomes or
Yeah.
yeah.
They're like mud babies. Thank you so much, Caroline. Yeah, big up Professor Sprout. I think she's great. Miriam Margolyes as well. She's so like sturdy as Professor Sprout. Like she does feel like she's come from the earth. I think they've got her character's design, her costume, the muddiness. Like you can see, like I have a family friend who gardens all the time. She just has like that permanent dirt caked under her fingernails. And I just find something so incredibly wholesome about that.
Very wholesome. And she embodies the character perfectly.
Yeah, she does. Very good. Great. Okay, so we want to hear from you. Keep an eye out on our socials at Harry Potter for your chance to send in your favourite moment. It can be any burning questions or any of your hottest takes, and we will discuss them.
Ron, I should tell you, most muggles aren't accustomed to seeing a flying car.
Right.
So this film gives us one of the most unforgettable pieces of magic. A very ordinary car doing very extraordinary things. It's the Weasleys flying forward Anglia working because it feels so real, so tangible. It's like heavy and mechanical. So let's talk about how the filmmakers pulled that off. But first of all, does the flying forward Anglia kind of perfectly represent the Weasley family?
Absolutely. I mean, it's breaking down, it's run down, and but it's still magical, and it's still one of those things where it's very useful to have in, certain situations, not in front of a train, I'd imagine, but yeah.
It's kind of like scrappy, and you feel like it's been repaired a million times and put together, like all of their hand-me-downs and I don't know,
everything's secondhand.
Yeah, it works so well that that's their car.
Yeah.
I really love that. And also it must have had so many different specific charms put on it, because how many of the Weasleys are there that have to go to platform 9 3/4 in the Chamber of Secrets? They would not all fit in that car.
No, they wouldn't.
So there's like this undetectable extension charm, obviously the invisibility booster button, it being able to fly.
Yeah.
And these aren't like spells that you have to cast, it just does it.
Just does it. Yeah, it has its own, it's sentient in a way, I think, which is really cool.
Do you think that Arthur Weasley ever knew that it was sentient? Do you think that just happened?
I think it just happened.
So I had the opportunity to sit down with one of the magic makers, and it really is magic, who is responsible for creating so much of what we see, the special effects, so much of the flying forward Anglia scenes. This is Special Effects Supervisor John Richardson. So let's see what he had to say. John Richardson, thank you so much for joining us on Harry Potter, the official film podcast. It's so lovely to have you with us.
Thank you. Nice to be with you.
We are talking about Chamber of Secrets. So when I mention the name of that movie, what is the first thing that pops into your head?
Well, it's always been my favourite of all the Potter films.
Great.
Partially because it was with Chris Columbus, who was always great fun to work with. He had a good sense of fun. I don't think Chris ever really got the credit he deserved for setting the whole Harry Potter scene. When we got on to Chamber of Secrets, it gave us the opportunity to do a lot of things that were, from our point of view, great fun to do. We had the Anglia car throughout the film, and I don't think people realised that we had 16 Anglia cars, all under the special effects control. To do the whole film, we had one of them on a pole arm that could actually appear to fly. So we had it on the set outside the back of the Dursley house, and I had what we called a Waldo, which is a little copy of the real thing, and I had a little Anglia car on it and a model of the side of the set.
So how did that Waldo system translate whatever you were doing with your hands to these amazing action sequences on screen?
So whatever I did with the model car, the real one would do it in real time.
Oh my goodness, that sounds so complicated.
We had the actors in the car, and I was able to fly the car up to the back of the house, turn it round, reverse up to the window, open the boot remotely, throw the cases in, get the kids in, and then fly off across the stage, or appear to. So, I mean, that was one Anglia. We had another one on a rig that would allow it to turn upside down. We had another one on a rig for the Whomping Willow. We built the limbs of the Whomping Willow to actually beat on the car, and we had soft aluminium panels made for the car. So with the real actors inside the car, not doubles, we were able to pound the car and make it bend and break the windows. And then we had 3 cars for doing the stunts and driving through the spider's lair. We put racing car engines in them so they could be driven. We had another one that could be driven with a hidden driver hidden on the floor inside, looking through a television monitor. Just the Anglia cars on that were a film on its own.
Obviously, I imagine having practical effects is something that actors prefer dealing with as well. So how does that create like a more organic reaction in the Chamber of Secrets? Have you got any examples?
You know, we also had the Chamber of Secrets door with the snakes. A lot of people think that the door in the film was CGI. It wasn't, it was real. You know, that whole sequence Chris was able to film it with the actors in front of the door. Mm-hmm. You got the reaction of the actors because they were obviously still very young at the time. So everybody had got something to act to rather than a green tennis ball on the end of a stick. The list in that second film was really endless of the amount of work we did. But I say it was great fun doing it.
Pretty much everyone that I've spoken to has mentioned you and also mentioned your love of explosions. So tell us about how much you love blowing things up and what sort of techniques you managed to use on Potter.
On the first few films, we were, of course, dealing with 10-year-old actors. I was very concerned about using actual explosives in their presence. We didn't want to sort of frighten them or worry them, particularly the chess game, if you remember that,
yes,
where all the pieces are destroyed. Instead of using explosive, we used very high pressure compressed air. So we would bury air mortars into things, electric flash bulbs. So we'd get the flash and the explosion, and dust and cork for the debris to make sure the children were safe. And, you know, once they'd seen it happen once or twice, they were very comfortable with it. People often ask me what was my favourite effect on all the Potter films. It was blowing the place up at the end, because then we could really take it out on Hogwarts and do a lot of real explosions, which was great fun.
I can imagine. So when you are thinking about the kind of practicalities of the magic in Harry Potter, in Quidditch, for example, which is one of my favourite parts of the wizarding world, what were the challenges when it came to making the actors fly, making the brooms look realistic, etc.?
It was, funny enough, it was one of the first conversations I had with Chris Columbus. You know, I discussed different ways of doing it. On Superman, we used a polearm technique through a blue backing quite a lot. And I thought that would be certainly a good way to start. We didn't want to start hanging people on wires, because then you've got the person hanging, holding the broom, and really the person on the broom should look like they're riding a bike. And one of the first things we did was we rigged up a mock-up broomstick in our workshop, mount bicycle saddles onto the broomstick, put the broomstick on the end of a polearm, and then we built hydraulic rigs so that we could fly him up and down. And I have to say, I took my hat off to Dan and all the young actors on those first films, because I don't know if you've ever sat motionless on a bicycle saddle for 2 hours, but it does get a bit uncomfortable. So Quidditch flying was one of the major tasks throughout the whole of the Harry Potter series. One of the funny things or people usually find it amusing, was that, as I say, we started flying them with bicycle saddles. By the time we got to probably Harry Potter 5, 6, they became so big and heavy that we made a special rig that we could sit every actor who had to fly on a broom. We'd sit him in this rig onto a plastic bag full of expanding foam. So we got, and they were in exactly the right broomstick flying position. So we got a mould of every actor's bottom, and at one point we had them all hanging up on the wall in our workshop. But from that, we were able to model little Kevlar seats that were tailored perfectly to them.
How do you think that the Harry Potter series changed the game when it came to special effects? Because everybody that we've talked to has mentioned just how unique and how special a series it was to work on.
I'd, funnily enough, first read the book. I picked it up and started to glance through it, and ended up I couldn't put it down. And I said to my wife at the time, gosh, if they ever make a film of this, I hope I can get to do it. Here I am 25 years later and still building broomsticks.
John Richardson, thank you so much for talking to us.
Well, thank you very much. I've enjoyed it.
So Harry and his friends have set off to solve another mystery, only this time the film really leans in. It's like a proper whodunit, like a Agatha Christie style, right? So what are some of the classic murder mystery tropes in Chamber of Secrets, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they follow every clue, everything that they hear, and they're not letting go of the tale, right? And I think some of the cinematography I thought lend itself well. So at one point we see Lucius Malfoy, and he's got that light bar that goes across his eyes.
Oh.
And that reminded me a lot of like film noir, which is a lot about murder mystery and like detective
Like
work.
the PIs, yeah.
Yeah. There's that scene where we get a flashback of like Dumbledore with Tom Riddle. That's in black and white. So a lot of film noir elements.
I really like the idea of they are kind of literally on the trail of, because they're hearing the voices, they're seeing the spiders. Like there are all these different clues that I think we can't make add up at this point, but we're trying to pull them all together. And that feels like proper detective. Like you almost want the board of strings to like connect all of the dots.
Right.
I feel like Hermione would very much have made one of those. She would be like the crazy, the meme. Like,
the meme with the poster board.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think this is like her... She's the one who's like kind of leading the detective energy on this.
Yeah, and I think then Harry takes that on, right? Because she gets petrified and then she can't participate anymore. So I think at that point they've like picked up on what she's doing and are trying to like continue that. Yeah, they just decide to continue what she had started.
Yeah. I really love the idea as well of all of the Harry Potter films having their own like subgenre.
That's right.
Because like you have this action adventure one of Philosopher's Stone, then you have this murder mystery, the second one. The third one definitely leads into horror. You have like werewolves, etc. And I feel like, you know, like Goblet of Fire, you could argue is like kind of like a sport.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, it totally is like a sport or like a game movie.
Yeah.
Like they're going
there's Quidditch, and then there's the trials.
There's challenges, and then they have to.
Yeah, I feel like there is an argument for all of them having a specific subgenre.
Yeah,
which I love. Do you think the fact that Harry can speak Parseltongue is just actually a bit of a red herring in this?
Yeah, I think because it alludes to him perhaps being the heir and all that.
Because do people in the school really think that Harry would be the heir of Slytherin?
Possibly, yeah.
Like, it's wild to me that they're all like, he's the savior of the wizarding world. Oh no, he's probably really evil.
Right. It's true. And his parents are not that. So maybe they have some folks in the camp of thinking that he is the heir, and then some folks who are like, there's no way. His parents were not part of Slytherin. They weren't like that.
But also, I don't know if you're thinking, if you're suspicious of someone, you're not necessarily thinking about their parents.
Right.
You're just thinking about what you know of them. And Harry, in the first one, literally like saved the Philosopher's Stone. Dumbledore says at the end of Philosopher's Stone, what happened down there with Quirrell is a complete secret, so naturally the whole school knows. So they all know that Harry's done something heroic. So why would he immediately go and do something
not heroic?
Yeah. I feel like obviously the onus is much more, I would be so with them and being like, it's Draco.
Absolutely. Anyone in Slytherin.
Yeah.
I would suspect. I'd be like...
Anyone in Slytherin.
Yeah, I'd be like, looking at them. Yeah, Draco or Snape, any one of those guys.
But also, I feel, although Lockhart is technically a Ravenclaw, I feel like he would admit to the crime just for like a bit more attention.
Anything for attention. Yeah, any attention, whether bad or good, is what he's after.
He'll take it.
Yeah, he'll take it. And he'll spin it some way.
Yes.
Yeah,
I agree. Okay, I really hope that you've been studying because it is time for a bit of trivia.
All right, let's go.
Are you ready?
As ready as I'll ever be. I do get performance anxiety with quizzes, but let's see how I do.
You'll be absolutely fine. What style of clothing was Lucius Malfoy's original costume? Was it A, an emerald green robe? Was it B, a pinstripe suit? Or was it C, a mink coat?
I want to say pinstripe suit.
You would be correct.
Yes. Amazing.
Because I feel like that's that really kind of formal, like just quite businessman-like flair. Whereas actually he just brings this whole other
oh my gosh,
dreamy world.
The cloaks and the amazing.
What injury does Harry walk away with after that really normal, definitely not cursed Quidditch match?
With a rubber arm.
Yeah.
No bones.
No bones. Broken arm.
He still has his arm.
Yeah.
He loses something. He doesn't actually gain anything.
That's true. And what exact object is Hermione found with after being petrified by the basilisk?
There's a round mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess you could say the scrumpled up paper from the book.
That's true, which we
Does
don't
that
find out
count?
until later.
Right.
But yes, absolutely. Very good. I also really love that the hand mirror is basically, instead of like a magnifying glass.
I know.
You know, like
it's just a circular
detective. Yeah, but it's
with nothing else
thing.
to hold it. Yeah,
I love
interesting.
Very good. 10 points to Hufflepuff.
Yes.
If any of you out there want to try your hand at trivia, then visit harrypotter.com/quiz to test your knowledge. We've come to the best bit of the podcast, which is the trolley appearing with all of the sweets. I'm going to reward you for your hottest take.
Okay.
With something sweet from the trolley. So what have you got for me?
I think it's a pretty hot take.
Okay.
I think Harry should have bought Ron a new wand. Why didn't he?
Yeah. I mean, 100% agree.
Right? He's got money. I feel like Ron, I mean, in the end, it was fine that he had a broken wand because it saved them. But I do think that if he, as a good friend, you know, even just as a Christmas present or so, I guess you would have to go with Ron to Diagon Alley to get it.
Yeah, that's true. That's hard.
But like, hey, Ron, I'm going to get you a new wand. Let's go. And like, get you something that
or at
is
least be like, in the
actually
summer
working.
holidays.
Yeah, right. Something like that.
Do you think Ron would have been too proud to accept it, though?
I do, yes. Okay, so the Weasleys, they don't like charity.
No.
That's totally fine. But I think that Ron, as Harry's friend, you know, is growing and learning, and maybe he's going to grow out of it, or he should grow out of it at least. And I think Harry could do it in a way where maybe it doesn't feel so bad. And I think Ron should know that it's just not very helpful to have a broken wand when you're studying magic.
But also, there's a bit where McGonagall is just like, you need to get that wand fixed. And I'm like, you bought Harry a Nimbus 2000 and he
Also.
was rich.
Yeah.
You know the Weasleys don't have loads of money. You could have helped out at this point.
Absolutely.
Or Dumbledore. Dumbledore has the Elder Wand. Actually, no, I disagree with this. This is not on Harry. This is on the adults.
I agree.
Dumbledore has the Elder Wand, which we know can fix other wands.
Yeah, you make a really good point. I mean, yes, absolutely. This is on the teachers. If they could work it out where they can, they're teachers. They want their students to learn. Like if they have a broken wand, it's not going to help them.
Or up to the Ministry of Magic. You know, so maybe this is a government issue. Maybe it's a council issue. Maybe it's about, you know, making sure that underfunded families get, you know, the things they need, the supplies they need for school.
And maybe then they'll have to accept it. Like the Weasleys will have to be like, sorry, it's out of our hands.
Yes, exactly. But I do think you raise a really interesting point about Harry's wealth.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't really share it much.
Right. And he's getting gifts all the time.
Yes.
So
it's like famous people getting like free things.
Free things, which, yeah, Lockhart gets all the time. Harry gets all the time.
Yeah.
I think it's time that he gives a little back. Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right with that.
He should consider it. I know he's 12.
But that's the thing, he's 12. He's not thinking
He's
about
not
it.
thinking like
and
that.
he's never had money before, so he probably doesn't think about having money.
Right.
I think when he actually does have it literally in his pocket, he does offer to buy things like at the Quidditch World Cup, for example.
That's right.
He does offer to buy everyone omnioculars, which are very
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah.
So
He's learning.
Yeah, when he grows up and he has it on him, sure. When he's 12 and he's thinking about like having to write to Gringotts for it, I get why that's a bit more of a stretch.
Right. And there's an attack on the school. Like, I
Yeah,
guess he's...
bigger things to think about.
Bigger things right now, yeah. That's
I will give it to you though, because
Yay.
he does need to share the wealth. What would you like?
Can
I recommend the peppermint toads?
Yeah, and they're dark chocolate.
They are, and
That's
they are delicious.
very good for you. So, yeah, I'm going to do it. Thank you for
Excellent.
the recommendation.
Okay, so my one, I've seen a theory right at the beginning of the film, in Flourish and Blots, we see Draco tearing a page out of a book, right?
Yeah.
We just think, oh, he's just being Draco, he's destroying property, he thinks he owns everything. And then later we see Hermione petrified, but with a ripped page clutched in her hand.
So how did he get it to her?
Who knows? Maybe he slipped it in. I mean, it all feeds into that idea that maybe Draco has a crush on Hermione at this point.
And he thinks this will help her? Does he know something about
Well, it's
the
his
basilisk?
dad that is the one who is slipping this book into Ginny Weasley's cauldron.
Right.
So maybe he's heard something in Malfoy Manor. Maybe he's like, this is going to attack Mudbloods. And he does make a joke about like, I hope Hermione's next. He doesn't call her Hermione.
Right.
But
Maybe. I would love that. If
Right?
that's true. I would love for that to be true.
because why is he tearing a page out of a random book?
Yeah. And it shows a little bit of Draco's like
Other side.
other side that he,
Yeah.
you know, might actually want to be friends with them and
Exactly.
not be nasty as
Yeah.
he so often is. That is a great theory. I love that one.
Thanks.
So you win.
I get something.
You do, whichever one.
I'm going to go for... oh, it's a Chamber of Secrets. Eat slugs. I'm going to go for the
Yes,
jellied slugs.
that's perfect.
Oh my God. Do you think they're covered in marmalade?
I hope so, because those look a little...
I don't know. Choke those down.
Yeah.
All right, Trolley, you have done your thing. Evanesco. So we've reached the midpoint of the film, but we're not quite at the chamber yet. Next time, Naomi and I are going to continue on to the conclusion of Chamber of Secrets, where Polyjuice goes wrong, a diary clogs up the plumbing, and the terrifying truth of what's been hiding in the walls is finally revealed.
Oh my gosh, that's my favorite part of the film.
Join us on our film-by-film look back through the series and rewatch every Harry Potter film on HBO Max. In the meantime, we want to hear from you. Share your thoughts and keep up with the latest from us on social media at Harry Potter. As we make our way through the series, we'll be checking the comments to dissect your burning questions and your hottest takes. Until then, try to stay out of detention. See you next time.
Bye.
My cat has been petrified. I want to see some punishment!
We will be able to cure her, Argus. As I understand it, Madam Sprout is a very healthy growth of mandrakes. When matured, a potion will be made which will revive Mrs. Norris. And in the meantime, I strongly recommend caution to all.
Harry Potter, the official film podcast, is produced by HBO in partnership with Pod People. This podcast is hosted by me, Rhianna Dhillon. Our head writer and lead producer is Angela Palladino, and our associate producer is Emily Mansfield. Our line producer and production manager is Hannah Pedersen, casting by Brianna Frapart. Production design done by Liz Klakowski and her team Kevin Fallon, Marcel Banks, Jeff Cross, and Amelia Caceres. Our technical director is In-Sung Huang, along with camera operator Nick Gregorio. Hair and makeup by Ali Elizabeth. Production assistance by Sam Sanders IV. Our video editor is Susanna Vasquez, and the show is mixed by Carter Wogan and Marina Pais. From the HBO Max podcast team, Alison Cohen-Sorokach, Michael Gluckstadt, Becky Rowe, Kenya Reyes, and Erin Kelly. Special thanks to Emily Brandon and Reese Allgood from the Harry Potter digital team. Thank you for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time.